A lot of people say Mayweather hasn't fought anybody.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. About the fighters who Mayweather has fought.
The ones that he did fight?
Yeah, the ones he fought that was somebody.
You mean the ones that he could get? Because nobody wanted to fight Mayweather. People I don't understand. People who don't know that. But the people he has fought, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. He fought, I think, Cotto's cousin, Hernandez Cotto or something. But people won't recognize him. He's not a big name. I mean, he was a good fighter. Sean Ray Mitchell. But people, if they weren't boxing fans, they'll think he was a nobody. And plus, the way Mayweather beat him, it seems like he was a good, real good fighter. DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley, another good fighter, which was Mayweather's first fight at that weight class. And Chop Chop is not a big puncher, but a decent puncher for someone coming up from, I think he came up from 135 or 130 to welterweight. You know what I'm saying? And also, Angel Man Freddy, even before all of that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Angel Man Freddy was a good fighter. Mayweather just straight dominated, just killed him. It was nothing. But, I don't know, people, they won't think these guys are big names because they don't follow the sport like that. If you want to get down to the nitty gritty, even Emmanuel Augustus, but people really would look at me like, whoa, Emmanuel Augustus, because his record is like 30-30 or something like that. But he is a good fighter with good skills. Don't let the record fool you. His record is like that. This is a guy who would take fights on 3 days notice. Like he's a guy, he's crazy. He just doesn't care. You know, you take a fight on 3 days notice, no training, you just get in there. But the guy's good. I mean, if you go back and look at some of his highlights and some of his fights, you'll see his skills. If you watch the ones where he actually trained and got in there and fought somebody. Actually, I remember Mayweather mentioning that was one of his toughest fights in his entire career, was a man with Augustus. So that's saying something. Of course, Castillo, people know about that. And then another thing, when he fought Castillo, he fought injured, but he didn't say anything. The only reason people knew he was injured is I think one of the commentators overheard them in the corner when he was telling them to massage his shoulder. I think George Foreman, to be exact, heard him. He was like, I think I hear him telling him to massage his shoulder. That's not a good sign. But yeah, he injured himself right before the fight. And when he fought some of these people, he always came in underweight. And they came in like 10, 11, 12 pounds over this guy. But that was his closest fight in a lot of people's eyes. And he immediately rematched him. So for a guy that's afraid to fight people and he fights a guy that's almost beats him, to go ahead and immediately rematch him, like, how can you say he's scared if he went ahead and, you know. It took Manny, since we talk about him and Manny and we make that comparison. Well, I don't really like to do that though, but Manny fought, what's his name, Marquez, which was an underrated fighter to me for a long time. I wanted to see him and Mayweather fight years ago, even before him and Manny fought. But Manny fought Marquez and he came out and he broke Marquez's nose. He knocked him down 3 times in the first round. Marquez went on to beat him 11 rounds straight after that. And they gave the fight to Manny Pacquiao. You know, Manny Pacquiao was the biggest draw up-and-coming fighter at the time. He beat Eric Morales, and they gave it to him. I thought they robbed Marquez, which Marquez was getting robbed a lot. And Manny didn't rematch this guy. He fought Marquez 7 years later. But people like to compare Manny and Mayweather. I mean, you could do that all day with any and every fight. They like to compare. But Manny didn't rematch this guy. Plus, who has Manny fought? He got his fame from those 2 fighters, like I said. And the rest of the people that he beat are just people who he fought because Mayweather fought him. So he was using the same buzz off of Mayweather fight to, you know, get the buzz for him and Mayweather to fight, to cause that big fight, you know. So I don't know. How can you say? I don't think any fighter's afraid of any other fighter. You know, if you ask me, nobody's afraid of nobody. You know, it's the promoters or the one that has the money invested in the fighter that's not gonna put their fighter in there because, like, let's say it's you. You take your money. You're a working guy. You take your money and you put it in a fighter that you believe, and it's a significant amount of money that you've earned from your job. Now, if this fighter gets out and he loses, you lose all this money, you could lose, you know, everything. So it's in the promoter's best interest to get their fighter in there and if they think they're gonna beat this fighter. So the fighters, you train so hard, the fighting is the easy part. If you go through the training, then you're already tough. Nobody should even question these fighters' toughness. Once they go through the training, if they're training like they should, and if you're on the championship level, your training is like ridiculous anyway. So the fighting is the easy part. It's not the fight. No fighter is afraid of any fighter, if you ask me. And you're in the wrong business if you're afraid to fight another fighter.
That's what fighters do.
But people are doing that comparison thing. I don't like it. But if you're gonna do that comparison, you have to go both ways, and it doesn't make sense because what you say about this guy, you can say even more about the other guy. So how can your logic make sense? This guy's great, and then this guy's not great because of such and such. But if you look, you can find both similarities in both careers. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me.